Awesome. Looks like we are live. There's some folks joining here in the bottom. We'll give it just a couple of minutes to let everybody trickle in, and then we'll kick this evening off. Austin, Logan, always good to connect. It's been a little while. I think I missed the last couple of webinars with you guys, but watched them back. And what's new with you guys?
Just busy.
Yeah, busy time of year. A lot of draws coming out, which is great. Always fun to talk to guys that drew tags they've been looking for, and yeah, a fun time of year.
Yeah, no, for sure. And we were just talking before we went live here, and most years, the over-the-counter leftover opportunities, you didn't draw a tag, now what? Most years, that's me trying to figure out how to fill my fall, but this year it definitely is not. So um, draws have been good this year, but I've been on a few of these over-the-counter, kind of last minute, if you will, opportunities, and had some of the most fun hunts that I've ever been on from those. So looking forward to diving in. I'll do a few kind of housekeeping orders, and then I'll kick it over to these guys at Huntin' Fool. But just a couple of reminder of everybody on here. So your guys' video is off and you guys are muted. So no worries there. We can't see you. We can't hear you. It's kind of a one-way street. If you guys have questions, make sure that you're dropping them in the actual Q&A function at the bottom. Use that chat function to talk amongst each other. Let everybody know where you're tuning in from, what tags you drew this year, what you're excited about. But if you have an actual question to ask Huntin' Full at the end, make sure you're using that Q&A. And then any personal account stuff, if you have any issues with your account, make sure you email help@onxmaps.com. It's going to be a lot better way for us to get your questions answered and get you taken care of. Also, we're doing a giveaway. We're going to be talking about a giveaway during this, which isn't closing today, but then we are also doing a giveaway for the live portion of the webinar that is going to be closing. So if you happen to be watching this after the fact, sorry you missed out on that, but unfortunately you cannot enter. And then, yeah, with that, I think that pretty much covers everything. If you guys want to kind of introduce yourself and kick us off.
Perfect. Thanks, Dylan. So my name is Austin Atkinson. I live here in southern Utah, Cedar City, and I've been with the Huntin' Fool for just over 10 years now, and looking forward to helping share information every day. That's part of our job, and all hope is not lost. So listen up. We're going to show you some cool opportunities.
Yeah, Logan Hedges here, born and raised in Western Wyoming. Sometimes it's good, sometimes that's bad, depending on the time of year. But yeah, been a hunting fool just over 10 years as well. And yeah, love, days like today were great when the Wyoming elk draw came out and got to share a lot of fun with the guys that drew and a little disappointment with the guys that didn't. So, but this is why we're talking about this today for the guys that didn't draw.
That's right. So at Huntin' Full, of course, we're partnered with onX and so many things that we do to help you guys know what opportunities are out there. If you have an onX Elite membership, you can come over to Huntin' Full, activate your digital membership for free, no extra cost, get access to all of our information. This is, I believe, the fourth masterclass we've done this year, so you can always jump back on YouTube and see the ones we did about Colorado draw changes, applications for beginners, and there'll be some more. So don't miss out. But first, before we dive into this, we're going to kind of take it state by state as we talk over the counter and leftovers. But we want to talk about, real quick, our Colorado elk hunt giveaway.
Uh,
This is a giveaway like no other because you can enter just by being an onX member. Any level of onX account that you have, come over to Huntin' Fool, activate your Huntin' Fool account, enter the elk hunt giveaway. Simple as that. Click the box, click enter, and you're in the giveaway. We're going to run that through June 15th for a fall 2025 Colorado elk hunt. And you say, well, how can you do that? The draw's already passed. We're waiting on draw results in Colorado. It's because it's an over-the-counter license. So the winner's going to be able to bring a friend, come to Colorado late October, and everything's going to be paid for a fully guided horseback hunt in Unit 74. It'll be super cool country to hunt with a rifle, and it's all paid for. You just got to enter.
right. Great hunt there. That's something to get excited about right there. Wish I could enter. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'll and we'll drop the link to enter that giveaway a couple times throughout this in the chat there. So click it like Austin said. I'm guessing if you're attending tonight's webinar, you already have an onX Hunt account, but if not, or your neighbor or your buddy, have them download the Hunt app, start a free trial, and then you can go ahead, click that, and then get entered. It'll ask you for a little bit of information, pretty quick and painless, and then you're entered for that giveaway. So, yeah, like Logan said, I wish I could throw my name in the hat there, but excited to see whoever wins that hunt, what comes of it this fall.
Yeah, it'll be good. It's with an endorsed outfitter of ours that we've used for years and years. And it's rifle, it's elk, it's in October, and it's a free entry. You can only enter once for your account. You can't buy entries, you can't flood it. So it's equal drawing, and we hope someone that wins is excited to go. So jumping into tonight's topic, over the counter and leftover. You didn't draw, or you don't think you're going to draw. Now what do? We're going to kind of break it into three categories tonight. The first one being over the counter, meaning I can walk up and purchase it in person, or I can purchase it online. It's truly an over the counter permit. Then we'll talk about leftovers, which have some other nuances, whether they're unclaimed, returned, reissued. Doesn't mean that they're bad. Sometimes people say, oh, they're leftover, they're what everybody else didn't want. Well, it depends on the state. That may not be entirely true. It's not what fell off the table, it's just how the draw went. And then we're going to give you some tips for next year, planning early to make sure you get your points for next year and have more chances. So those are kind of the three buckets we'll go. If you have any questions about any of these states or sections, put them in the Q&A. We're going to answer some live, and I'll type some answers as well. So first state we wanted to talk about is Alaska.
Yep.
It's maybe not on everybody's list, Logan. Some guys say, oh, Alaska, I have to go guided and spend a whole bunch of money. Not entirely true.
Nope, not at all. We just did that last year.
Yeah.
So, yep. There's the caribou, the picture of the caribou I killed right there, and we'd had that trip planned for a couple of years, and finally made it up there, and yeah, had a great time, just a group of us together. So,
Yeah, I mean, no guide is required in Alaska for moose, caribou, black bear, Sitka black-tailed deer. You can hunt all of those unguided. And where the costs get involved is when you start paying transporters. You start paying an airplane or a boat or something to drop you off. But it's still reasonable. If you've dreamed of going to Alaska, our suggestion is plan ahead. Yes, you can still buy any of these because they are true over-the-counter harvest tickets and go this year, but you might not be able to work it in your schedule or find a transporter to take you this year. But if you're going to plan for a future year, realize it is over the counter. Set it, put it on your calendar, put a deposit down, start figuring out the logistics, and we'd love to help you with that. But there's no reason not to hunt Alaska, at least for these unguided species, because you don't have to pay those super high rates to do that.
yeah, and probably sooner better than later, because as we all know, everything's getting a little more expensive, even the transporters and stuff like that. So, something you're thinking about doing, get a group of buddies together and go make it happen.
Yeah. Jumping to the next state we'll talk is Arizona. So Arizona did truly have an over-the-counter archery deer permit in years past, but that has since changed, and now it is a set quota for non-residents that will sell out. Last year, when they sold the 2025 permits, they sold out in under 20 minutes. So it's online only. It's a $300 antler deer tag, and that's archery, good for mule deer or whitetail, Coues whitetail. You can hunt anywhere in the state that's got an open unit, and there's harvest quotas set for each unit. So once so many bucks have been killed and reported, that unit will close down. Your permit's still good. You just have to maybe go to another unit that's still open. So in order to hunt fall 2025, if you don't hold this permit already, you are out.
Yep.
But they go on sale November 3rd. That's why we're talking about them now, because November 3rd, they go on sale for next calendar year's tags. So you could buy one in November and start hunting January 1st of 2026, but you got to get that permit now. So if archery deer interests you, put it on your calendar, November 3rd, when they go on sale from the Arizona website.
Oh, you bet. Yeah, that's one of those you want to plan way ahead. So
Yeah.
make sure you're ready to go on the 3rd there.
Yeah, because that tag you buy on November 3rd is good for January, August, September of next year, and December of next year. It's just how the calendar year tag works there. So plan ahead. Still a decent value. Why they keep that tag at $300 for a non-resident for archery deer. It during the rut, it's pretty good opportunity.
Yeah, you got to buy your $160 hunting license, but if you're going to apply in Arizona anyways, you got to have it. So why not grab a tag while you're doing it if you got time to go do it?
That's right. As I mentioned, those units will close, and we run a full analysis of what dates those units have closed in the past. So you can say, oh, this one will probably only have an August season. And they'll hit the harvest threshold. Maybe these other units will have a December, January season, and you can kind of jump around. But all these units have a ton of public land. You don't have to hire an outfitter. If you're an archery deer hunter, you need to be going to Arizona. It's my recommendation. If you want to send your money to the lovely state of California, they do have true over-the-counter deer hunting, both archery and rifle. It's a little more expensive than Arizona. You're going to be over $220 for your hunt license, just under $400 for your deer tag, but you can hunt archery almost statewide. Rifle's a little more specific. You have to pick your zones, and they have some quotas. So you say, well, who's going to go to California? Well, I wouldn't go to California for an archery mule deer hunt. I would go to Arizona first.
Yeah.
But I want to shoot a blacktail deer,
Yep.
Columbia blacktail. So I want to go to California and I want to hunt the public land up in the B zone in the northern part of the state. I think that's a great opportunity
Yeah.
to go over there and hunt a species you can't hunt elsewhere. These over the counter states are not necessarily for everyone. Every hunter doesn't need to go to all of these, but if you don't have good mule deer hunting where you live or in a state you're going to, start exploring these other options depending on your weapon choice, your time of year, and there's no reason not to hunt.
Oh yeah, for sure. If it's a state that's close to where you live, so it's not so far for you to go, you can go hunt on a long weekend or something like that. These are great opportunities for that.
Yep. Colorado, big changes that we've already experienced in Colorado.
Yep.
The archery elk tag that used to be over the counter is no longer. So we had to apply by the 1st of April this year for Colorado. If you didn't apply, which results won't be out till next week, the last week of May, but if you didn't apply, all hope is not lost because there's going to be archery leftover tags.
Yeah.
That are going to make it through.
They had high quotas, a lot of people didn't put in or didn't know to put in. It's the first year of it. I mean, my prediction is there's going to be plenty of tags left over for the secondary draw and leftover stuff.
Yeah. So the archery season there for elk is almost the whole month of September. Great opportunity to put an archery elk tag in your pocket, which is not easy to do over the counter. So we left this on the over the counter section because some of these tags will roll into the secondary draw. Some will even roll into leftover day, which will happen in August. The only true over the counter elk tag currently is going to be your rifle elk. And that's going to be your second or third rifle, which is the end of October or mid-November. You can hunt statewide on all the open units during those seasons, and you can jump units. You only select if you want the second rifle license or the third rifle license. You can't have both, but you have one of those and you can move units. Check our maps. We cover this in our July e-magazine and in our printed magazine and help you decide which units to go to. But plenty of public land. Don't have to hire an outfitter. It's much cheaper for youth if you want to take your youth hunters on their first time elk hunt. Colorado rifle, great opportunity.
Yeah. Yep. And I mean, Colorado's got a lot of elk. If you don't have anything else up and just want to go and hunt, have a good hunt with your family or your friends, Colorado's still a great place to go.
Yeah. August 5th is when they go on sale, but you do not have to buy these rifle over the counter elk licenses until you show up in the state. So it's not something you have to commit to beforehand. You can literally drive there, go to a licensed vendor, buy it, and head out into the field. No waiting time. Like I said, narrowing it down is the tough part. How do I know where to hunt? So what we do with our research, this is provided to all onX Elite members, is we help you narrow down the units that have high harvest success, public land, and a decent chance at killing something. So some of these units, like I've put on here, may have 15 to 20% kill success, which is pretty high on an over-the-counter hunt,
Yeah.
a general type hunt. So read through those. We separate them based on if you're just a day hunter, road hunting from a four-wheeler, or if you want to backpack into some decent country. There's dozens and dozens of units to hunt. So we try to break them down and
Yep.
recommend which ones we would look at if you've never been to Colorado and you just want to try your first elk hunt.
Yeah. Yep. You bet. There's a lot of them out there, so it's always nice to have somebody help you out a little bit with them for sure.
Yeah. Most of these units, you have to shoot, a branch antlered bull that's got 4 points or more on one antler. So spikes are out, cows are going to be out. You can't take those on most of these hunts. But looking for raghorn or bigger type bulls.
Yeah.
Landowner vouchers, the other way
Yeah.
to get a tag, Logan.
Yep. You bet. There's a lot of opportunity there for sure. With landowner tags in Colorado, there's a bunch of them out there. You want to be careful. We get guys that get landowner tags every year. Thought they were getting a unit wide tag, and it's private land only. They really don't have anywhere to hunt. That's what I would tell people to watch for. If you find a tag you're looking for, make sure it's actually what you're looking for, unit wide. Don't get stuck on 160-acre piece that hasn't had a deer on it in 3 years. Because they will give tags to landowners like that in Colorado. It's all about acreage, not animal use. So, do your homework, reach out to us. Yeah, we'll definitely help you out on that, and just make sure you get the right tag. But it's a great opportunity to bypass the draw. Some of them are pretty cheap. Some of them gotten really expensive. So depending on your budget, I've bought several over the years. They're starting to outprice me a little bit in some of the units I like, but it is a great opportunity to get out there and hunt when you didn't draw something.
I mean, if someone who's listening to this, how much could they expect to spend if they just want a deer voucher? Because they're still gonna have to trade that voucher in for
Yep.
the actual deer tag,
Yep.
spend another $500.
You
But
bet. The state's going to get their money.
yeah,
So, and anywhere from 1,000 to 5,000 on the majority of the tags. You get a few of the elite units that are they're up in that $10,000 range, and I mean, my advice is don't even look at those, and don't spend the money on them, because it's not like they're any better than any of the others. Get you a second rifle hunt for a couple $1,000 and go have a great hunt.
gotcha. We do provide a free listing on the huntinfool.com website where landowners can list their tags. We don't broker tags. No one is allowed to broker
Yeah.
or resell tags. So some guys will find them maybe on Craigslist or in a local listing, or on our website. We provide them that classifieds, if you will, where you can list your landowner vouchers for sale, but you buy it direct from the landowner. You deal with them or the designated land manager, and they sell it to you, and then you can exchange it with the state. So
Yeah.
these landowners have to draw their
Yep.
licenses just like we draw them as a public. So next week is when we'll start seeing a lot of landowner tags or vouchers get published on our website, as people say, oh, I had enough points, now I'm going to sell it because I don't
Yeah.
want it. So they'll start listing it, they'll put it on the site, tell us how much they want for it. And if there's a unit you're looking for, you can buy it and
Yep.
avoid the draw.
Yeah, all their contact info is right there on the website. You can reach directly to them, and make sure you do reach directly to the landowner or the land manager. If you buy it through a third party, automatically that voucher is invalid. You gonna turn it into a tag and hunt with it, you're gonna get in a lot of trouble if they catch you.
Yeah.
So we've seen that happen with a few guys. I even know an outfitter that lost his outfitting license over doing that. So be careful there for
Be
sure.
careful. Yeah. Buy it straight from the landowner. Next state we'll touch on briefly is Oregon. I consider this a little bit similar to California in the sense that if you're looking for specific species, mainly Roosevelt elk, black-tailed deer, Oregon may be a good state for you to pick up a tag and go. Hunt license, elk tag, you're going to be in that $800 range to do that. If you want to hunt Rocky Mountain elk, not near as many opportunities. That's mostly handled through the draw. But Roosevelt elk, west of I-5 on the western side of the state, still a good chance to go out and to hunt those. You could do black-tailed deer at the same time, archery or rifle. We provide a full breakdown of all these units so you can see if one works for you in our July magazine. So I've never been to
And
Oregon.
this
Oh, have you? Yeah, me neither.
Dylan?
this is one I actually did a couple of years ago. I applied for a few different tags in Oregon, was unsuccessful, and was like, well, I'm already $172 into it, or whatever it was 2 years ago if it was different. And was like, what can I do this fall? I've got a pretty open schedule. Picked up a deer tag and went and hunted blacktail, and it was a blast. It was super challenging. Got to learn how to find blacktail in the thick timber through binos, which is and the fog and the rain. But it was a blast. Like that's one of my most memorable hunts. Looking at the buck right here next to me, and I absolutely want to go do that again someday. So that's one that it's different than mule deer, different than whitetail, a lot different terrain. But I'm super glad that I took advantage of this over the counter opportunity and went and did that.
For sure. Let's jump back to Utah, and we're going to talk about elk. I assume a lot of our people on this masterclass tonight are like, I want to hunt elk and I don't have a tag I haven't drawn or I don't have enough points. So Utah has some of the biggest elk in the West. Very, very difficult to draw those tags, but we still have true over-the-counter archery and rifle we'll talk about, but archery elk permits that you can hunt August into September virtually statewide. A lot of people don't know that that still exists,
Yeah.
but it's a great opportunity. And this will be the last year of a little bit cheaper prices because Utah has increased their prices for next year for non-residents. But you can buy this archery permit at any time. You don't have to buy it. It's not going to sell out. And you can come to Utah and hunt anywhere. So if you hunt in units that are managed for big bulls, meaning trophy bulls in the draw, the only elk you can shoot there with your bow is a spike or a cow. But you get to be around great big elk. There's lots of elk. It's not like you're not going to find them. They're managed for big populations. Utah just chooses to take more bulls out of the spike category to keep populations down and allow trophy bulls to grow up for the draw hunters. So you can hunt those spike units. In the units that don't have as many elk, or maybe they have more wilderness or private land, you can shoot any elk in those units. So you just have to look at the map and say, man, if I go on this side of the highway, I can hunt anything I see. This side of the highway, cow or spike only. And that's a great way to put an elk, under your belt.
Yeah, or just an opportunity to be out. So those season dates, a lot of other things aren't going on, I know for me and stuff. So it's a great opportunity to run down and maybe get a little sunburn and hunt some elk. So
Yeah. If you're not an archery hunter, you're like, I need rifle or muzzleloader, you can still come to Utah. These permits go on sale in July and they will sell out, but there's a high quota, so they don't sell out quickly. We sell 15,000 spike only permits, and that's rifle or muzzleloader. And then we sell 15,000 any bull permits, which is any uh, any bull that you see, spike or bigger. On those units, you got to pick if you want the spike tag or the any bull tag. So a little complicated there, but we could definitely consult you and help you out. Those dates for the rifle hunts are early October. Muzzleloader is end of October into November, but there's no reason to not try it out. If you are interested in Utah, maybe you're building points in Utah to hopefully draw a good elk tag someday or a special one, come to Utah, spend the money 1 year and try it out. See what the pressure's like. I mean, these are public land units.
oh, you bet. Go hunt a spike in the unit you're thinking about drawing. Learn it a little bit. It's a great opportunity to basically you're scouting, but you got a tag in your pocket while you're doing it. So yeah, you bet. It's a good opportunity. So don't overlook it for sure.
For sure. And for youth hunters, if they're under the age of 18, they can hunt all the seasons, archery, rifle, muzzleloader, and there is no limit to the amount of youth permits sold. If you got a youth hunter, come to Utah and let them try it out. And I mean, for us, yes, we live in Utah, a lot of us here in the office, but hunting spikes every year, it's a great time to get out, good meat, and you get to see how the elk numbers are doing. You just can't shoot the big herd bull.
Yep.
Yeah, that's one I'm super excited to do at some point. And Logan, to your point there, if you're gonna draw that unit, what better way to know what to expect? Like, okay, I finally drew this awesome tag. I'm gonna call around and try and talk to folks, which is great, but what should I expect in this unit as far as how many bulls am I gonna run into? What size of bulls? Like, should I shoot a 320 on opening day? Like, what better way than to spend actual time
Oh,
in that particular unit and interact with those elk and see what they do. So yeah, I was thinking that same thing when you said it, and I might have to do that before I draw a tag down there.
Yeah. Don't get caught, drawing a tag, waiting all these years and have no idea what you're walking into. So come on down and do it beforehand. Utah's full of public land. Thanks to onX and everybody else, we got that public land sell-off taken out of the big, beautiful, ugly bill, whatever it was called.
yep.
So we still got a lot of public land in Utah. We'll touch on Washington. Very similar. Washington is to Oregon, with the addition of adding mule deer and whitetail opportunities for over the counter. In Washington, you can choose if you get a Western tag for elk or an Eastern tag, and then you can hunt any of those open units there. Similar to Utah in some regards, where you may only be able to shoot a spike or a smaller bull on certain units or vice versa. But if Washington is close to you, or if you have family there, you want to travel to Washington, I would never drive past Colorado to go to Washington to hunt a rifle elk per se. But if you need a Roosevelt elk, okay, Washington's on the list, or a blacktail. Mule deer, I wouldn't drive past some of these other states to go chase mule deer in Washington unless I was going to be there for some other reason.
Yeah.
If I like their cheaper license fee, they did increase their tag fees this year, so an elk license is over 600, deer is just 542. It's kind of it's on par with other states,
Yeah.
but you just have to weigh the size of the animal, the location, where you're going to go. So keep that in mind.
One other real quick note with Washington, if anybody does want to go come out west and do a black bear hunt, I've hunted fall bear in Washington, and I believe it starts earlier mid-August. And that was in some of the most amazing gnarly country that I've ever hunted any big game in. So if you want to come get your butts kicked and hike some really steep mountains and get in shape for the fall, bear's a good opportunity there too.
For sure. A lot of these states that we've touched on, Idaho, Colorado, I mean, they're gonna have plenty of over-the-counter bear hunt options. Arizona. Uh, if you're looking to hunt a black bear, like there's no reason to sit around and wait.
Yeah.
You should be doing it every spring or every fall. California right now, uh, as strange as that may sound, is one of the best fall bear hunting opportunities right now. They're way over their objective for black bears in the state of California. The tag is cheap, lots of public land, and you can shoot a really big black bear there.
Yeah. They got some big bears there.
They don't hibernate as long as our
Yeah.
bears.
Yeah. Our bears, they don't get to eat for 6 months.
Yeah. Okay, so that ends our over the counter portion. So now we're gonna merge over into leftovers a little bit. A leftover tag, every state's got a little bit different nuance to it. But what happens when Colorado comes out with their draw results next week, May 27th through 29th? Any tag that is not drawn or not purchased, picked up, will roll into a secondary draw. This is before it goes to true leftover over the counter sale. Secondary draw, anybody can apply. It doesn't use your points. The only caveat to the secondary draw is the youth get full preference. So they will draw all of the youth applicants possible, resident or non-resident, before they draw any adults. What does that mean? Well, my daughter drew that elk permit in the photo in this picture in the secondary draw. I applied her in the early draw to get an elk point for $10. Great. Move on. Now the secondary draw came up and I said, well, I don't want her to lose her 1 point, but I'll put her in for this elk permit that's limited because it went undersubscribed. She drew it and we went and had a great hunt. Adults can still draw some there, like we said, the archery, elk, probably some of those tags for adults will make it into the secondary draw, but it's a great chance for youth to get in and sneak some good tags.
Yeah, you just will have your name in the hat. Maybe if there's just a couple tags in a good unit, you may not want to put in for that. But if there's, something archery, maybe even muzzleloader, you have that window open to hunt that fall. I mean, heck, it doesn't burn your points. I've done it a few times and, save my points and still get a hunt to go on.
For sure. The deadline to apply there is June 30th. It'll be a short window when you apply, but don't worry, you're not going to lose any of your current points. Any tags that do not get given out in the secondary draw roll to a true leftover day, they call it, and that starts on August 5th at 9 a.m. That's a chaotic day,
Yeah.
right? Because any tags that have been returned, there's good ones, bad ones, all sorts of tags on there. Anything they couldn't award to the next guy who should have drawn, they just throw them on a giant list and they go on sale August 5th. It's chaos on the website. The website usually crashes. It's kind of clunky. If you have a chance to go to a vendor in person in the state of Colorado, or someone can go for you, that'll be speedier for sure.
Should give you better odds of that
Yeah.
to get one done.
But I don't have a lot of hope personally in that day.
Yeah,
But
no.
what I like
You
is
gotta try though.
you got to try.
Yep.
But what happens after that, any licenses that are returned after that date, and this happens to all sorts of licenses,
Yep.
people can't go for some reason within 30 days of the hunt, they return the tag back to get their points reinstated. All those licenses will go on a list every week. And on Tuesday, they show us the list. It's called a preview list. And then Wednesday around 11 a.m., that tag will go on sale on the CPW website, and fastest to add it to their cart gets it. It's not as easy as it used to be. The first couple of years they did this, man, you could add about any tag you wanted to your cart. Now there's a lot of people on the list, but somebody in this office gets one about every year. Just if the tag you want. So I look at the list. I set a reminder for me every Tuesday after August 13th. Check the list. If there's anything you are interested in, then set an alarm for Wednesday on your phone to log on and try to get it. Takes a few minutes out of your Tuesday and Wednesday. If you miss it, who cares? You move on.
Yeah. Didn't cost you anything. Just try to get one.
Yeah.
Austin, do they disclose the list of the original or the first leftover license draw, or is that not disclosed before that happens? The one on August 5th.
Yeah, no, that list is published. Yep.
Yeah.
So before
Okay,
each one of these, before the secondary draw, we'll get a full list of what's available. And then before leftover day, we get a true leftover list. And then after that, they run a reissue preview list and a leftover list concurrently,
copy.
same time. And the reissue preview list, those tags will flow to the leftover list around 11 o'clock on a Wednesday. And that means they're for sale. So they tell you this is what's been turned in, it's holding in queue. Then it gets populated on Wednesday and anybody can grab it. Doesn't use your points, right? If they took your points, there would be a lot less people trying to get these tags.
Yep.
But where it doesn't touch your points, everybody's trying to get something. And that'll go all the way up through the hunting season. You'll see tags in there in November still getting populated if the season hasn't finished yet. Idaho. This is a messy one.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of changes coming. So
So we'll touch 2025, right? So all the non-resident general tags went on sale last December. So you would have already had to buy one because they sold out. Any tags that are returned for any reason go to a sale day. The next one will be June 26th. Set a reminder if you're trying to get one. But those will be all the general tags returned for any reason. Anything that's unclaimed from the controlled hunt draw, there will be a secondary draw August 5th through 15th. I always throw in for that because it's $22 for an application. I've never drawn anything out of it, but those are controlled hunts. So Idaho's running a general and a controlled all kind of at the same time. Makes it a little messy to understand, but if you want a 2025 tag, June 26th is your next opportunity. If you're not going to do that, let's start talking about 2026.
Yep.
Breaking news. Can we call it breaking news?
Yeah.
This just in.
Yeah.
So Idaho has decided as of about 6 hours ago how they're going to run their 2026 non-resident general permits, general tags, I should call it.
Yeah.
In the past, it's been like that screen you see on the left. You're in this virtual waiting room. You're not going to get the tag you want. You're frustrated. Maybe you flew to Idaho or drove to Idaho to stand in line and try to get one. They've scrapped it all. Finally, they are going to a draw for non-residents for all 2026 general tags. And that's the capped elk tags and all the limited elk tags, limited deer tags. Everything for a non-resident will be a draw for this next year.
Yep. Yeah, which I guess is it's good and bad. It's probably for the better, just to make it fair for everybody for sure.
Yeah. The old system just wasn't fair.
No, it wasn't fair, and it was getting ugly for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people have been frustrated by that. They're trying to apply with their buddy and make sure they get the same elk tag, and one ends up with a good unit, the other one got the wrong unit. It's messy. So, basic recap, we'll cover this more in depth before the December deadline. But what they're looking at doing is a December 5th through the 15th application period. You must buy a 2026 hunt license. That'll cost you $195. And they're probably going to waive the application fee of 22 and go back down to 0 just because they want us to try it out for their first year. You can apply as a group, up to 4 non-residents. You get 5 choices on your application. So you can put the unit you want most first and then go down from there. You have to draw it and then purchase it and go pick up the tag, just
Yeah.
kind of like they do with their controlled.
Yeah, you don't have to put the money up front,
Nope.
but once you know you've drawn it, you're successful. You've got to make sure you go and purchase that before the deadline.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, why are they doing this all in December, January? They want to be first. They want to be early in the West like they are currently. They want your money.
Yeah.
They want you to commit to Idaho early on. So the tentative timeline right now is December 15th for the first application period. They'll announce results by the 1st of January. Anybody who doesn't pick up or purchase their tag will push the tag into a second draw for non-residents that'll happen late January. So the idea is to be entirely done with the non-resident draw by the end of February. And you will know if you have a general deer or elk tag in Idaho at that point and not have to just gamble on this early December date like we've been doing, spending all this time and money on a frustrating website.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, the way they got it right now, it looks pretty simple. We'll see how it plays out this next year.
Yep. There'll be a lot more questions on that. We'll provide more information as it comes down, but this is a substantial change where there's over 15,000 deer tags, almost 13,000 elk tags, and they're going to be sold through a draw this year, which is going to catch a lot of people off guard, but it does make it more fair for
Yeah.
sure.
Yep. Well, the party app's nice too. We always have guys that are trying to get the same tags, groups of guys to hunt together, and that's been a mess lately, the way the system's set up. So this will at least give all guys opportunity to put it in as a party group, and either all get it or nobody gets it.
Yep. Jumping over a little bit further north to Montana, we'll roll back to a 2025 opportunity. All of the deer and elk tags there have been given out in the draw. However, a lot of people return those tags as their schedule changes. They want an 80% refund. So all those returned licenses for elk and deer or the combo, elk plus deer, will be given out to an alternate list. Now, you're not on the alternate list by default unless you put yourself on that list.
Yep.
You have till June 30th to throw your name on, costs nothing. Okay, there's no commitment at all. So if there's any chance you want to hunt Montana deer or elk, put your name on the list by the end of June. You put your name on there. When a tag comes up, they randomize the list. They sort you by your draw number, and then they'll start reissuing tags. They give you a window. Do you want this? This tag was returned. You got till tomorrow night to buy it. Otherwise, it goes to the next guy. Pretty fair alternate system in my mind. Last year, if you put yourself on the elk list, about 40% of the people on that list got a chance at a general elk tag in Montana. So it's not like we're saying you got to be super lucky. 40% got offered a tag. 24% of the deer list got offered a tag before the season closed. So it's a good way. It doesn't use your points. If you have a preference point or two, just put yourself on the list. Go up there and chase all those residents off of their elk and deer.
Yeah, you bet. So go get after them. So
Nevada, this is used to be a bigger opportunity
Yeah.
than it is now.
yep.
Same thing. These states are trying to figure out how to give out tags that are returned.
Yeah.
Which I commend them for.
Yep.
Like, sell them to somebody, let someone go on the hunt. What changed in Nevada, this used to be a great opportunity, is if a resident turns back a tag, it has to go to a resident. Well, 90% of the tags are resident
Yeah.
tags.
Yep.
So only the 10% of non-resident tags, if those get turned back, they have to go to a non-resident. So we expect very few of those to come back. But if you work at a computer, maybe you have late hours during the night, these
Yep.
tags can pop up at any given time. So
Yeah.
you literally just have to stare at the website, stay logged in, and be super lucky. Tags will pop up.
You bet.
There could be sheep tags, could be elk tags, could be anything. You do lose your points, you do have to pay the fee. But a Nevada tag is very tough to get. We're gonna find that out tomorrow
Yes, we are. Yeah.
when Nevada results
draw
come
come
out
out.
and we don't draw anything.
Yeah. And we're going to be disappointed again.
Yeah.
But yeah, these look pretty good then. So yeah, no, if you got time to do it, keep an eye on it and you get a little bit lucky. I mean, it's great. We've had some guys get some really good tags off of this that, man, they probably would have never drawn in their lifetime.
Yeah. I got an elk tag on there a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Just got lucky.
Yep.
Wyoming, leftover draw. We got elk results today,
Yep.
but we haven't got deer and antelope yet.
Nope. Everybody's still putting in for them. So yeah, I mean the leftover draw, and I guess Wyoming's a little bit different because on the leftover draw, everybody thinks about leftover. You know, their tags if somebody didn't want whatever. There's usually some pretty good leftover tags in Wyoming, and those are 100% of the time actually they're resident tags, and they're tags that residents didn't put in for one reason or the other. A lot of times a type 9 archery tag, things like that, just because, I mean, there's a lot of tags I would never put in for as a Wyoming resident because all I got to do is wait 2 more weeks and I can still go hunt the same unit. They just give preference a couple weeks on some of those tags. So why a resident would ever do that when they could go hunt 60 other units in the state at that time and then come to that unit? Then you're just not locked into one unit. So keep an eye on those. There's some great opportunities there. Once again, doesn't take your preference points. So if you got preference points build up, there's always some cow tags left over. With the special draw and the price increase on it, we're seeing a lot more, especially antelope and deer tags available in the leftover. So second choice and leftover, yeah, it's there's opportunities there if you're willing to spend a little extra money, and Wyoming loves non-resident money. Yeah.
Now, look, a lot of people just want to hunt cow elk,
Yep.
right? We all want to fill the freezer, but some states are so expensive for a cow elk tag,
Yep.
like Colorado going the full $800+ for a cow elk tag.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to spend that, but Wyoming with the reduced price cow elk,
Yeah.
it's a good shot.
It's cheap, and now they got their Type 8 tags too, where they're over the counter now. You can just go and buy them, and they're unlimited. I know some guys that killed 4, 5, 6 cow elk off in Wyoming this last year, and had a blast. So there's a lot of good opportunities in Wyoming right now. The state is, especially on the eastern side, they have declared war on elk, and especially these cows. They're tired of paying depredation, and so if you want to get out and fill the freezer, Wyoming's a really good place to do it right now.
It's funny to watch the evolution of just cow elk hunting. Like, a lot of people used to come to Utah. We had a ton of cow elk hunts, super easy to draw, cheaper tag. And now it's like, ooh, it's tough and expensive. And so we start looking at these other states to hunt cows, Wyoming being pretty high up on the list.
Yeah, it's a good one right now for sure. Yeah.
Okay, a few more states to talk about. That kind of covers leftovers and other draws. Points only. Set your calendar reminders, sign up for Hunt Reminder, whatever you got to do, because you need to build points for next year. And you don't need a lot of points in these states we're talking about.
Yeah.
But Montana, September 30th is your deadline for bonus points for the limited draw. December 31st is the deadline for your preference point, which will be used to get your general deer or elk. If you meet that, it could be the difference between 100% draw for next year and a 0% chance of drawing next year,
Yeah.
just by remembering to go in before December and buy that $100 preference point. Big deal for a non-resident. Oregon will sell preference points up till November 30th. South Dakota sells them till December 15th. And probably our most recommended one for preference points would be elk, deer, and antelope points in Wyoming.
Yeah. Yep, you bet. So especially for kids, if you got kids, they're cheap. They're $10, and um, build points for your kids if they're interested in hunting at all. And you know, Wyoming, general tags, they were anywhere from 0 to 5 points today. So it doesn't take a long time to draw a tag in Wyoming, as well as some of these other states. So just get a few points. Every year is important. Don't miss a year if you're wanting to get out and hunt. So points are valuable now more than ever. So,
Yeah, they are. They
I got a
are.
question here on Wyoming. So it says even if you applied in the draw. So I was one of the lucky non-residents this morning who saw successful, and Wyoming happily accepted my money. Can I buy an elk point this point period?
no, you can't
Okay,
buy
so
one
it's just unsuccessful. Copy.
unsuccessful. You can go try it. I try it every year. If the system's broke, but it's never let me yet. So on any of these.
Okay,
So yeah.
copy. And that's what I thought. But that is good to know. So if unsuccessful, you can go buy your point.
Yep.
Yeah. If unsuccessful, you have to buy your point. There's not even a way to mark. When you applied for elk back in January, no matter what you paid, you had to front the money. You didn't draw, so they're going to give you a refund next week, but they won't give you your point automatically. You have to go back in July through October and buy your point. A lot of people miss out on that and they wonder, why didn't I get my point? I gave them $1,000 for 6 months. They don't care. You have to go back in later and buy your point separately for elk, deer, and antelope. Okay, let's jump to giveaway. You want to talk about that, Dylan?
Yeah. So let's see, how many are we giving away? Five of them. Just want to make sure I got that there. We'll drop the link for this giveaway, which again, this giveaway is for the live webinar only. So if you're watching this after the fact, you can call us and ask about it, but our answer is going to be sorry, you needed to be there live in order to enter this giveaway. So no sense doing that. So make sure you click that link, get entered. Huntinful is going to be giving away 5 free consultations. This is where you can get them on the phone and pick their brain a little bit more. And I personally use these all the time. Whether I've got, hey, I've got this many points in Wyoming. I'm looking at drawing. Here's the type of hunt I want to do, and talk through that with whether it be Austin, Logan, or one of the other folks at Huntinful. It is incredibly valuable. I've drawn some really good tags and had some really amazing hunts, strictly due to having those conversations and having those consultations with them ahead of time. So definitely click that link and get entered there, and then we'll let you guys know if you're one of the lucky 5.
For sure. Like we mentioned earlier, if you have an elite membership, you get our free digital membership. Like you get that from onX. All our tools are provided on there, our online magazine, previous tag holder list. You get all of that under the digital membership just by being an elite member. If you want to upgrade to our pro membership, which is about $200 a year, we're going to give you an onX discount for $169. That includes all the one-on-one consultations with the advisors. Call in as much as you want, a free state in your application services, and the printed magazine to your doorstep. 12 issues a year written by the advisors. So if you're not a Huntinful member and you wonder how we know about all these opportunities, it's because we have a lot of members that support us and use us all the time to hunt more often. So don't miss out on that.
Yeah, and I'll just add with that too, especially if you're applying for, if even if you're not applying for out of state, but if you're applying for one or multiple states, your investment in that is so great, especially once you start drawing tags consistently. For that price to be able to call somebody who knows a lot more then what I do is invaluable, right? So I would strongly urge folks to give that a shot because, like I said, I use it every year. These guys get bombarded with several phone calls every application season for me.
That kind of wraps up the material we had. As you can tell, every one of these states is very, very different. So questions are always the best way for us to help consult those. We'll open it up to some questions, drop them in the Q&A. One of the first ones I wanted to touch on here is back on Idaho, because this has come up a couple times already in the questions. People said, whoa, a new non-resident draw, what does that look like? And what am I allowed to do in the other draws? So Idaho is going to run basically three separate draws. They're going to do a non-resident draw in December, which everybody's eligible for. If you participate in that, you're still eligible for the controlled hunt draws later. That's sheep, moose, and goat if you choose to do one of those, or deer, elk, antelope in June. Still eligible for that. If you draw a general tag and then you draw a limited controlled tag later, you can exchange that and go on the hunt. So they're going to take your money on all the draws. Just realize this is a new non-resident draw. It's not called a controlled draw. It's just a non-resident draw for 2026. So stay tuned for more on that.
Yeah.
Other questions? You have some, Dylan, for us?
Yeah, I've got a couple queued up on my screen here. One of them, so for Montana, this individual asked, do I have to put in for the draw to be eligible for the leftover in
Good question.
Yes.
You do not have to add yourself to the alternate list. Anybody can do that. You create a ALS account, which is the Montana system. You jump on there, you say, I want to pick one of these lists, either the combo deer and elk, the deer alone, or elk alone, and you add yourself to that list. You don't put in payment information or nothing. You didn't have to participate. Doesn't affect your points. Yep. It's just anybody that they can sell it to, they want the money. Because when someone returns a license in Montana, oftentimes they only get an 80% refund or 50% refund.
I don't know when they
And
do
so
it.
Montana's like, hey, let's sell this
Yeah,
again.
let's turn it over again.
Watch
It's
this.
great business. So.
It's genius.
Yeah.
So they'll keep selling that tag until someone keeps it and goes on the hunt.
Yep.
So, good question. You cannot apply
1?
as a party on that alternate
No.
list. It's just a
Okay.
single person. Yep.
Got another one here. Are there cow over the counter available for Colorado first season?
Most of your So Colorado gets a little more complicated when you run into your A list licenses, your Bs and your Cs. So the way I would say it is everything in Colorado is going to be a draw to start. However, there's going to go undersubscribed, meaning there's not enough applicants. So yes, there will be cow licenses for all seasons that roll through into the secondary draw and into the leftover day. But keep in mind, they may not be public land units. They may have, weird restrictions on where you can hunt. So there are cow permits available, but keep in mind, they did away with the cheap non-resident cow permits.
Yeah.
Now we have to pay the full price cow permit in Colorado as non-residents. And you're just going to have to see what makes it through the draw.
Yeah, my advice to somebody that's looking for a cow elk tag in Colorado is put it in for your second choice in the initial draw. It's not going to affect your points. And if you put in a bull tag, you don't draw it. You draw your second choice of the cow tag. There's some left over right there before it goes anywhere else. That's your best opportunity to get your hands on one, I believe. So that might be the best strategy right there.
Yeah.
Awesome. And we did just drop in the giveaway for both the consultations and then the elk hunt giveaway link. If you guys have not already, click on both of those and get entered. It takes a few seconds. And especially that elk one. Yeah, some lucky person is going to Colorado this fall. So click those links, get entered, and got a few more questions on my side. Do you have any on yours as well, Austin, that you wanted to hit?
Yeah, the typical confusing Montana system, which I don't blame anybody for not understanding that. I'm
Yeah.
still learning. But what's the difference between preference and bonus points in Montana? We're talking about all these different points. Preference points are for non-residents only, and they're for the general season licenses, which are the same ones that Dylan or anybody that lives in Montana can buy at the gas station for pennies. Non-residents have to have preference points and apply in the draw to get those. The bonus points are for the limited permits, which is essentially an endorsement on your general tag to allow you to hunt a special zone or special season. Those bonus points it can be purchased by anybody. You don't have to apply in the draw to buy a point, but they do give you extra chances in the draw to draw one of those limited endorsements, if you will. You don't have to have bonus points to hunt in Montana, but you do have to use preference points to draw the general license to hunt there. But I believe we did a whole master class just breaking down the Montana draw. You can definitely jump on YouTube and go back to that. The way the preference
Yeah.
work, it's kind of creates a revolving system, so you can't have more than three, because if you apply with three, you'll draw. If you don't apply and you had three, they purge them back to zero. So you don't ever want to buy a preference point in Montana unless you're going to apply there the immediate following year and go.
I got one more here, a couple more actually. So if I don't draw antelope this year for Wyoming, will I lose all my points if I purchase a leftover tag?
No, no,
Okay,
not at
good to
all.
keep them.
It doesn't have anything to do with it. Anything that's not first choice in Wyoming, it has nothing to do with your preference points. Second choice, leftover, anything like that. Um, Preference points are exempt, so it's a great opportunity for somebody to grab a tag and go hunt somewhere. So without burning your points. Yeah.
Copy. Any more on your end, Austin?
I think we've got most of them. I appreciate a lot of the thoughtful questions and the registration questions you sent in. Hopefully we gave you some ideas. Like I said, you can't do everything, but hopefully we gave you a couple ideas. It's like, I should add that to my strategy either for this year or a future year. It's too expensive to apply everywhere and
Oh,
play every game, but there's no reason to sit home and say, I don't have an elk tag, I don't have a deer tag, I don't know where to hunt.
yeah.
Well, that's not a valid excuse. There's still plenty of opportunities for this year and every other year.
Yeah, you bet. There's opportunities out there. So even if you're just getting started and you're building points, I mean, there's some great opportunities to get out there, get some experience. I recommend it before you draw a good tag. I mean, go get your butt kicked on the mountain by some elk, by some deer. It makes us all better. We get humbled every year. We've been doing it a long time, and I try to learn a little something new every fall. So get out there, get your boots on the ground, and just go have a good time. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said in the beginning, some of my most memorable hunts have been on the over the counter or the I don't really have anything going on. What can I pick up and go do it? And those are the ones that really stick out in my mind. So some really cool opportunities out there. I appreciate you guys and your time and highlighting some of those opportunities and getting folks out there and doing cool stuff this fall. So I appreciate your guys' time. I appreciate everybody who stuck with us to the end. Got a few more seconds to click those links to enter the giveaways if you haven't already. And yeah, thank you guys. Good luck on the rest of the draws, and looking forward to the next one.
All right. Well, maybe we'll get lucky in Nevada. It comes out
Well,
tomorrow.
we're
Never
hopeful.
know.
Fingers are crossed. So.
Never
Let me
know.
know.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. See ya.